This is the roll and reach exercise. It's a great exercise that I prescribe to some of the people I coach, particularly amateur golfers, to help improve their overhead range of motion and external shoulder rotation, both of which are extremely important to get high up into that backswing without having to stand up and lose posture. So it's going to address where the restriction is that causes us to lose that overhead range of motion and external rotation. And that is the muscles in the back of the rib cage and those big lat muscles that connect from your humerus to your lumbar. And so when these muscles, these areas get tight, it contributes to rounding of the back, C posture, forward head posture, puts the spine in a position where it's a challenge to get into that high overhead range of motion without having to stand up and without putting your shoulders at a higher risk for injury. So if you don't have shoulder pain or dysfunction when you go overhead, rather you just have really poor range of motion, this is going to be a great exercise, going to give you a lot of bang for your buck to address that tightness in the back of the rib cage and those big lat muscles. So you're going to need a large foam roller, at least a 24-inch like this or a 36-inch roller. You're going to need a blank wall space to work off of. You're going to set up with your feet about a foot to 2 off the wall. So the further away from the wall you are, the more body weight you're going to be putting into the stretch and the tougher it may be. So you'd want to start about a foot off the wall in a good athletic stance. You're going to take the roller, you're going to have to do a little bit of trial and error with your starting point in the box that you're going to work in. So a good starting point is to have that foam roller right in front of your face, maybe a hair higher, and to have your elbows at about 90 degrees and shoulder width apart, palms facing each other. One of the most important cues for this exercise, and anytime you're working on overhead range of motion, is you need to maintain your posture in the position of your spine. We don't want to extend or push the hips forward as we go through this. So we're going to do the sandwich technique, one of those primary cues that we coach in the core balance training type program, where we pull in our abdomen, we squeeze in our glutes, and we're going to really try to lock in that lumbar and to not let it extend. You're going to get a much better stretch. So we're tightening in the abdomen, I'm tightening in my glutes, and I'm thinking about locking in and keeping my pelvis and my lumbar in a really nice neutral position. I'm not going to let that change as I go through the pattern. So test rep. Hands are shoulder width apart, palms facing each other. I'm starting with the roller around my wrists. You're going to take the biggest breath in you can, expand your rib cage, and you're going to roll and reach up through the arms. And as you do so, you're going to lean in towards the wall without arching your back. And I want you to think about pointing your thumbs out as you do so. And I would suggest you hold it at least 5, if not 10 seconds, reaching, tightening in, feeling that stretch all through the outer upper portion of your back and behind the rib cage, and then come back down for recovery. And after that test rep, you're going to adjust the roller to where you feel comfortable and confident getting as high as you can. You feel stable. And if you feel like you can increase the stretch, you're going to just step your feet back a little bit more and test it again. So once you find your spot, tightening in the abdomen, the glutes, big breath in, extend the rib cage, and you're going to slowly roll and reach up through your arms as you lean forward into the roller, tightening in the abdomen, squeezing in your glutes, turning the thumbs out, and holding for 5 to 10 seconds before you come down for a rest. And that is the roll and reach exercise.